Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's session is another debate. The topic of today is the overall presence of religion in society needed or not? I am here with an amazing guest today, Yasin.
Hello, guys.
So, without further ado, let's start. So, Yasin, I'm gonna go ahead with the first question here.
hmm
So, do you think that there should be an overall presence of religion in society?
I believe there should be the presence of religion in society, just because, uh, where would we get our morals or the morals that is set by standard, uh, by society is not always what I would call um it's not stable. It's always changing. What might be moral for someone might not be moral for, let's say, for example, like you, Yusuf. You live in Turkey. What you might see moral is not the same as someone living in Canada or America, right? So I believe religion sets a standard for morality, right? And it's set in stone, meaning it doesn't change with society. It has been like this from the past, and it will continue to be, because that morality is perfect because the religion is perfect. And some examples I could give is, for example, a few years ago, LGBTQ was, let's say, not accepted, right? So society went on, and the rules have been changed. Now, gay marriage and all that is accepted. But however, now this is just a small example of how far society have come. A long time ago, and even yet right now, child marriage and pedophilia is not accepted. But yet in the West, pedophilia is becoming more normalized because it's quote unquote normal, or it's just that's human about some people, right? So society cannot set a moral standard for morality, as morality for society is always subjective. There is no set standard. What might be wrong for someone is not wrong, like, for you. Go on.
I believe I do agree with you. Yeah, I definitely do agree with you. It's like obviously, even some morals and some like, I mean, some things that yeah are said. The part of codes of some countries or some kind of ethical standards that they have.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
definitely like laws are very subjective.
correct.
The judicial system is very subjective to different parts of the world. And
Mhm.
like you said, like some things in Turkey will not be allowed in Canada, some things in, for example, France will not be allowed in Egypt or
Yes.
I don't know, whatever part in the world. So yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, like even when people can like counter argue this with like, okay, but literally the judicial system covers everything. It covers. It has so many laws. If you take America for example, so yeah, it's basically the most country that has the most laws out of all of the other countries, right? But at the same
Yes.
time, look at its crime rate.
Exactly.
It's literally the highest crime rate, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on that. You brought up a very perfect example. I was just gonna bring that up. Although America's laws cover, most of the issues that if it were to come up, it would have been, answered. But you need to also understand that one law that causes their crime, which is the gun law, right?
Yeah,
Everyone has a right to defend themselves. This law is causing so much death and just unpeace in the country. You would never know when sometime when someday at some point someone might just pull out a gun and just shoot you, maybe because he was not right in the head, right?
yeah,
So even their standard is not even close put up to, because if you want to take their standards, then you should also implement their gun laws. And not only that, they have so many laws that are flawed that they shouldn't be a standard, right? And
yeah,
even then, uh, uh, what if they allow pedophilia soon, right? Just because they always depend on society for the law, right?
uh,
Like, You cannot take them as a standard anyway. They don't have a set code. They always change
Yeah, now they're
because of society,
allowing.
right?
They've already allowed weed. Yeah,
Exactly. A good,
yeah,
perfect drugs. Weed is not only the only thing, by the way. You know, marijuana is also
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
legal,
yeah,
and some acid pills are also legal.
yeah,
Yeah. So and these cause a lot of abuse. House like, what do you call it? Partner abuse. There's
yeah,
also like beating. Sometimes they're not in the right in the head. They beat their children, and then they ruin their children's life. It's
yeah,
just so Western society moral code is not should not even be considered,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest, because someone living here, it's every day you just see what like how much is wrong with their society, and
yeah,
just because there is no religion as a standard for
yeah,
morality, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I believe.
And it's just like, honestly, you see how in court they like they sometimes they'll be like, "Do you swear on the Bible?" And then they
Yeah,
bring the Bible and stuff. But then, like, okay, you've got a certain religion that you're supposedly following, right?
yeah,
Like, what you did is that you took that religion
mm,
and then you made you okay. If you only made law out of that religion, I would have been uh, like kind of okay with it. But you didn't
correct.
only do that. No, you developed so many branches to so many things that it's like you should have not developed a certain branch to that. You should have been like, no, that's just not acceptable. But no, you kept on giving like exceptions, 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 until certain exceptions almost now becoming a rule. And that's not the way to go about religion, right? That's not the way to go about
Hmm.
giving people something, or like ruling them with something, or like giving them a certain code of ethics to follow,
Mm,
right? I totally agree
yeah.
with you on this point. So this brings us to the second um, point, which is, what are the consequences of not having a presence of religion, in your opinion?
So yeah, so like I could think of four things on top of my head. So some of the examples I could give you is, so if there is no religion, as I've said, there is no standard for what is right and wrong, because there is no ultimate creator or an ultimate power and person in up there, right? That that he hasn't set a standard and tell you what's right and wrong. Yusuf, um, if you if for example, do you believe murder is wrong, like killing someone,
Yeah,
right?
obviously. Yeah,
What
obviously.
about yeah? Wait, what about a person who does killing for a living? He might not think it's wrong because he thinks some people deserve to die, right?
Yeah,
But yet, who are we to decide who gets to die or not? We are not God. We cannot create life.
yeah,
Neither should we be able to take it, right?
yeah,
That's only God's decision. So that's what I was trying to say. Some people might believe murder is right, so there is no standard for them, right?
yeah,
Although
yeah,
the law says murder is wrong, they'll use the excuse, oh, well, I believe it's right, and if and then what's gonna happen in law. Okay, he's not mentally stable, so they gave him a easy way out, right?
yeah,
And let me give you another example: abortion, right? The
yeah,
presence of religion also causes stuff like abortion, uh, way too much free will, and then making your own laws and your
you mean
own
there not being presence of religion?
yeah, exactly, when religion
Yeah,
is not present, these kind of ideas come along, right?
yeah,
People now do not consider the fetus a human or a living thing.
yeah,
That's why they abort it, right?
yeah,
The same goes for the RGB community.
yeah,
They basically believe, oh, well, I was born this way, I was not. Well, that's not true, because if I ask them the stuff about this when they are 4 or 5 years, they wouldn't even have a clue. If you're
yeah,
born with it, that means you 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 know the idea from birth, right?
yeah.
It's if I put that same person in a isolated system where there's none of these influence, do you think they will really know about this stuff? Be
No,
honest,
no, no, they would.
right? So it's always societal influence. So abortion came from society. There's no moral standard to it, right?
Right.
And yet, take all the religions. I mean, the three main Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. They all believe in one thing: abortion is taking a life, right?
Yeah, yeah,
and these religions make up the most population in the world. So how does a the minority get a right to say anything, right?
Yeah.
And then so I mentioned abortion. I mentioned LGBTQ community. The biggest example I could give you what happens with our religion is look at the West. They consider themselves a Christian country, yet they're hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
Everything everything Christianity says, they're going against it. They're not even standing for what they believe in, right?
Bro, there's this one. I'm sorry to cut you, but there's this
No,
one.
no, go ahead.
There's this one guy. It was like on a podcast, and there's this
Mm,
one like OnlyFans model, right?
correct.
And she was wearing the cross, and
Mm,
he was asking her like, "Do you believe in God?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Do you believe God like encourages you to do these things?" And
mm.
then she was like, "Yeah." And then he said, "What do you think Satan encourages?" She was like, "The other thing." I'm like, "What? Wait, what?" So they've got like, she doesn't even know what Christian like what
Yeah.
being a Christian means. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
they're
Yeah,
so
exactly.
deluded by other stuff. It's absolutely crazy. And then there was also another video of a man saying like, that I saw. I don't remember the exact
Mm,
thing, but he was like, there was this one woman that was like, that was all with abortion and stuff, and then
yeah,
he was like, okay, I know like the law doesn't really support that, a fetus is actually there, right?
yeah,
Like you said, but then he then said is like, okay, so if law doesn't support it, right? Or like
yeah,
actually law supports abortion, right?
yeah.
But what if, like, did you ever think of how many people you just killed there?
That is true. That
Like
is very true.
the it could be perceived in two ways. Like it could be perceived in the actual number of who is coming out of that lady's
Yeah.
stomach, or
Mm,
the bloodline itself.
yeah.
Like you just
Yeah,
ended
exactly.
a whole bloodline of
Mm,
someone,
yeah.
that could
Yeah.
have lived, could have had a successful, good life, right? But you
Mm,
chose to, very selfishly, right? Very
yeah.
selfishly, just because, I don't know, just because you messed up and you had a baby out of wedlock or like
Yeah.
adultery, and
Yeah.
it was basically your mistake, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
But
I
you
agree.
gotta
I want
own
to
up
add.
to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to add on to that. You brought in a very good question, right? Now, I need to elaborate a little more on that because me just saying no, abortion should not be allowed is very extremist because we also need to think of certain circumstances, right? Because there are people who get raped, there are certain people who might die. The mother might die because of giving birth, right? So there are circumstances which a great example is religion. Religion gives you these standards and when it should be done. But not only that, the religion gives you the exception and also forbids, like you said, from what if that kid was a genius? He could have saved cancer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He could have. You never know. I mean, people might laugh and be like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" Well, you don't know. You don't even know, right? That's the thing. You didn't even let the possibility happen. So there is that, and I just remembered something. Talking about religion. Let me try to remember what it was. Okay, yes. So okay, this is what happens when there is no presence of religion. Okay, um, a lot of so you know how in all the Abrahamic religion don't like no girlfriend and no boyfriends. It's
Yes,
only
yes.
marriage, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if if there's research, you can even look into it. There are like people that like go into a relationship once, right? They cannot have that same type of relationship again
Yeah,
when they're not married, right? That
yeah,
same kind of love cannot be given once it's given.
yeah,
It slowly picks away from your heart and your empathy and your sympathy towards a person.
yeah,
So when there's no religion, there's a lot of people who will literally play girls and just use them as like they're not, they don't even look at them as humans. It's just as an object, right? The
yeah, yeah,
objectification of women happens. Not only that, the the women actually don't get it right. As crazy as it may seem, Islam gives a lot of rights to women. Like for example, if in the West, if a woman gets divorced, well, if a prenup was signed, too bad, you don't get nothing,
yeah,
right? Too bad. But Islam says no, you have to give some right to the woman, right? You have to take care of her until she's like She either settle in back with her family, and if she has a child, you have to take care of her and the child until the child is born.
Yeah.
And there's so much right given to the woman, but in like what in the West, there's nothing that will prevent a man divorcing his wife with a child, right? Like there's nothing stopping that.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when there's no religion. You get a lot of what wrongly divorced women who were played, who a woman, a lot of broken families, meaning a lot of divorce. The highest divorce rate is in the West because there is no religion, right? So
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. What happens when there's no
Yeah.
religion?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that, and to also like go back, like touch back on the point of like law and like the you'll find that you'll reach a point where lawyers in like lawyers in general. I'm not gonna say in general. Okay, let's not generalize here,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a lot of lawyers, their job is like if you want to get money as a lawyer, a lot of money, and
yeah,
you want everybody to come to you, like even the most important people. It's like
yeah.
you're not proving right or wrong anymore.
No, yeah,
You're proving what the client wants from you. You
yeah.
know,
Making him innocent,
and
correct?
exactly, and you basically you learned all these laws, and you read all these books, and you studied, you worked your butt off to just become something, right? But then at the end, when you actually reach that, now you're articulating every all this knowledge that you got. You are creating loopholes in that knowledge, right?
Mm.
You're trying to find some sort of dent in the system so that you can say, "Oh no, he's not guilty,"
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
actually need to pay him compensation. What?
yeah.
Like
That's
it's
crazy.
and the problem is that like when you go into religion, if you've got religion as the main
Yeah.
source of like judging
Fear,
people,
let's say. Yeah.
yeah, like you'll find that it's very stern, it's very serious about things, right?
Yeah.
It does go into exceptions, but some things, it's like exceptions could happen, but it doesn't delve into them too much, because if it does, like how law is doing right now,
Mm.
like they're gonna branch it out so much, and they're gonna be like, oh, but what if that doesn't happen, right? Oh, but no,
Yeah.
no, no, it didn't really happen like that. It just happened in a different way, in a
Y-
different circumstance, right? So they're gonna keep coming up with things, but in religion, it's like you've got a certain fixed set of rules. It
Exactly.
does not
Yes.
change. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Yes, there might be
Mm.
different circumstances for things, but it still does not change the fact that there is right and there is wrong, and that
Mm.
if you make a mistake, then you have to own up for it, you have to repent, then you have to apologize if you ever
Yeah.
hurt somebody, right?
I completely agree.
Exactly. So religion really does not have any loopholes, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
have any dent, because it's God's words, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the one. You're taking orders directly from God.
Exactly.
He's taking. You're not like you're not judging people based on your own mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're judging them based on what God taught you, and that's obviously superior to everything else,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's like that's obviously that's God, right? All
Yeah.
powerful, all almighty. So that's another important point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. Last question here. Does the overall presence of religion in society
Mm-hmm.
inhibit freedom? Because a lot of people can go like, okay, sure, all of this talk is great about justice, right and wrong, but then they can also be like, okay, but religion is very limiting, right? Religion is
Mm-hmm.
very, there's only a set of things that you can do, right? Well, there's a lot of fun out there. So what do you think of that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, great question, by the way. So like I'm like it's the truth. I'm gonna say it as clear as it is. Yes, religion inhibits free like human right and freedom, but that's for your own good. As sad and as annoying that may seem to people like who are a free bird that just want to do everything, no limits. There's reason why God set limits and certain boundaries for mankind, right? Because before I like go on, I don't know the name of this movie. I'm not sure if you've seen it. There's this movie where there is this kind of town, and they basically they say for a whole, I think, day there is no laws. You can do anything you want, right? And then
Yeah,
people just go crazy. There are people raping, there are people killing, there's just everything. There is no limitation, right? They say forget about even law. Don't include law now. There is nothing stopping you from doing anything, right? And then, well, it's chaos. Like everyone starts killing each other. Everyone does what they're not supposed to do. Okay, so yes, religion does inhibit certain what the West would call rights, but I believe those rights are not supposed to be with humans in the first place, right?
yeah,
For example, the right, there's not even a right. This is just something a human has. Killing someone, anyone can kill someone, right? But there is the law that prevents it, right? But some people do not believe in that law. But when you have a religion, you cannot go against it. Like you said, it's fixed, because if you do it, you're gonna be punished. And not only that, the fear of doing it should even prevent you. Some people fear the law in the sense, oh, I might go to jail. But that's like you said, they can always find a loophole. You can get a lawyer. You can do what in religion, if you did bad, knowing you did bad and did not ask for forgiveness, you're not getting out of it. It's as simple as that, right? You did wrong, you didn't ask for repentance, and you continue doing it, meaning you died in the state and what the sins you're doing. There is no coming back. You were given one chance, right? But the law always gives a way out for people. So yes, religion might inhibit, but it's always for the good of mankind, because why would God not want what's good for you? He knows what's harmful for you and what's not harmful for you. The only reason why he inhibits certain stuff is because he doesn't want you to get hurt, right? He doesn't want you to see being broken down, or any issue that it may cause for you. So that's why religion does prevent certain acts and certain stuff.
I dude, I definitely agree with that. The the thing about human rights is that some rights are just like, I mean, some rights are like people know about, and
Mm-hmm.
it's ultimately taken from religion.
Yeah,
But the
exactly.
the the thing is that when there is no religion placed on society, like you said, people are free to do whatever they want, and
Yeah.
so they could break whatever they want, they could do whatever they want, right? You're telling him, okay, you're free, but you have to follow these laws.
Mm,
But that's okay. You're ultimately always being chained, so there's nothing called freedom.
yes.
If there is law and there are certain things that you can't break, that's not
Mm,
freedom. And that's not, like, you're gonna be like, oh well, look, you're saying you're giving the false definition of freedom. I'm like, no, that's not my definition. That's
mm,
your definition, right?
correct.
That's the You're free to do whatever you want.
Yes.
This is why people start doing heinous things, start doing absolutely disgusting crimes. And because they don't fear, okay, you will never fear someone who's in charge of law. You will never feel
I
that
agree.
someone. Why? Because he's human, right? But if
Yes.
you feel, if you and feel and know that there is something greater watching you that could take your life in an instant,
Perfectly said.
because ultimate freedom only belongs to God. Like he he's the one that has unlimited power, unlimited will, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he could do whatever he wills, but you can't.
I
And
agree with
if
you.
another human is telling you what you can and cannot do, and is basing it not off of God but off of his own brain, then you're obviously gonna feel chained,
Mm.
because it's like, who are you to tell me what to do, right?
Yes.
It's like, you're eating the same food as me, you're drinking the same food as me, you're striving to earn the same dollar that I'm trying to earn, right?
Yeah.
You poop and pee every day in the
Yeah.
bathroom,
No. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're bound to do the same things that I do. Like what what differs you from me?
Exactly.
That you print more money and that I can't print money? Honestly, that's just like I could if we bring it from that argument, then the other person will go like, okay, well I can go punch you in the face, train hard, punch you in the face, and say that
Yeah.
I own you, and you can't do nothing. Your paper is
Yeah.
worth nothing. Your paper is absolutely worthless, right?
Yes.
And so people keep striving against materialistic stuff
Mm.
that just to fill up that hole inside of them, right?
Yeah.
When that hole, you know that that hole is never gonna be full, but it can be tamed, and you can keep filling it up. You can choose to fill it up with good things, things that are worth being fed to yourself, right? So you are free, but the thing about freedom is that if you want to truly be free,
Yeah.
then you will accept chains
Yeah.
because nature, everything around you, remove law, right? Even if
Yeah.
you like remove whatever you say is chaining you, and you're
Yeah.
just living in this world. Nature itself is chaining you. Whatever you
Correct.
do, whatever you do, right? We're free to do whatever we want. We created cars, we created all of that stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
now it's polluting the earth, right?
Yeah.
And in turn, what is the earth doing? It is now
I
getting
agree.
hotter, right? Climate change is a thing, right? When now the glaciers are getting melted, and with them getting
Yes.
melted, there are multiple viruses worse than the COVID, worse than any other virus that we don't viruses
Mm.
that we don't even know about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And now they so ultimately whatever you do, it always gets reflected back onto you, and that's just a rule. Like I don't care what you believe in. Like if you don't believe that, you're delusional, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's always going to be consequence for what you do. There's always going to be honestly the best way to just describe this is that God created us in a place that's a mirror, right?
Mm.
Whatever you do, it will come back on you. It has to,
Yeah.
good or bad,
Normal.
right? So if you create whatever you want, but these creations that you created, like cars, buildings, whatever, if they cause the earth if they affect the earth in a negative way, you're gonna get affected negatively because that's where you live, right?
Yeah.
If you talk to people kindly, you're affecting them. You're leaving a good print on them. So they're
Mm.
gonna treat you back kindly. If you're doing the
Yes.
opposite, they're gonna treat you back with the. It's it's literally a mirror, and it's fascinating because this mirror is so balanced. It's so fair, But what we
Yeah.
do is that we keep destroying this mirror. We keep doing things that chain us up even more, right?
Yeah.
When other chains are really worthless and they make your life miserable, but what other chains are just there to make sure that you live a good life, you know?
Yes.
So that's my opinion on it. And
I agree with you.
yeah, if you've got anything to add on anything, you can go ahead.
No, honestly, you nailed it right on the head. You literally said everything above and beyond. Like I couldn't even think. I couldn't even think them on the spot. Right. The more you said it, the more I'm like I started like, oh, I should have thought of that. Like damn, that's the most common thing. But yes, it's so effective. Like what you said, right? So
Yeah,
I completely agree with you. Right. You're always gonna be chained, regardless if you think you're free. You're never gonna be free. Right. Even
yeah,
your own human body has limitations.
yes, yes,
So and not only that, you need to understand even the universe has limitations and stuff that are preventing it from like literally just exploding, right? There's so many laws in physics that prevents certain stuff from just breaking the limit of even physics, right? So
exactly.
there's always limitations, and yeah, that like you said, that just placed upon you either whether it's by nature, by religion, by law, you're always going to be limited. There's nothing called absolute freedom. Yes,
Yes,
that's all I think. Thank you very much.
yes. All right. Well, this was an amazing, amazing, amazing session. Um, I've had a lot of fun. I like we explored a lot of perspectives that you know um, you don't think about it every day. Honestly, you don't think
Mm,
about it every day. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Yassine, for being here. Amazing energy, amazing, amazing points. Thank you very much. Um, thank you guys, and tell us in the comments what you think about this. And we, as a promise on our side, we will read each comment and we will try to improve our content. Thank you very much. Drop a like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to help us and support us and see more content like this, thank you very much. Bye bye.